Great. Okay. So I always have trouble. Let's see, am I? Let's see if how does that look? Does it look all right there? Can you see me?
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the now. What's the actual building? Is called the Church of the Incarnation, right? And so I've walked by this Church of the Incarnation, and I was saying I walked by over 1,000 times. And I thought, yeah, it's a nice building and everything, but not until I saw there was a little plaque on the side, or whatever you want to call it, that said that Eleanor Roosevelt was confirmed at this church. And I thought, wow, that's an incredible connection. And so ultimately I thought I have to go inside. And it wasn't so easy to find out when you could go inside because they have services, or you can't, it's not like it's open all the time. It's only open for specific times when they have services. So I went inside during a service, and one of the nice ushers there was so nice to me. He showed me the Eleanor Roosevelt bench. So the Eleanor Roosevelt bench was down there, and this is a picture of the family name, which was Delano.
Delano, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so that was, to me, that was so interesting to see the interior. And then I was reading up about how when they first created this church, that they actually had Tiffany glass. It was like Tiffany glass. So I had to find one of the. I really felt like I wanted to not go crazy with all this beautiful glass, but that I wanted to show something. And then I managed to find the exterior of the exact same space. So I thought that was interesting for me, architecturally. But there's no end. I mean, you could go on forever and ever. Every single brick was interesting in this, and it was just such an interesting place to check out. And on the side, and I noticed it today that the plants are all these weird orangey, like kind of not great colors. But I had managed, it was April when I first had heard about the competition, that the color, the yellow flowers were just so nice. And I didn't accentuate the crosses too much, but that I love just the way it all, the way the building's made. But it was the biggest challenge was figuring out how to take a picture of the actual tower without having anything behind it that's in the way. Seeing all these other buildings that are in the way. So I somehow managed to get a little bit of the other one, and I didn't get rid of it. I could like erase it out, but I managed to find an angle where I felt like it was by itself, and there was nothing else around. And the fact that Eleanor was actually there, it was 1899 approximately, because she was born, I believe they say she was born in 1884, right? So I was trying to figure out if it's 1884, she's 15 years old when she's confirmed, I think they say. So 15, I figured out it had to be 1899. Definitely not the 20th century. And so I thought, wow. Then I was looking up all details about this building. They had an incredible organ, a state-of-the-art organ for the times, and that in the 19th century, this building, this church held 800 people. There was 800 people in this little Murray Hill neighborhood. It was like that was a pretty intense place, and so that's basically what was going on here. And I did have, I was trying to get this beautiful interior. I mean, you could go, here's another situation where where the building looks totally different every time of the day, when the sun is here, the sun is there, the sun is everywhere, and the little details. So I did what I thought was kind of the best I could do with this church from my perspective. And the only controversial, there was one very controversial thing I did, which I'm going to point out, which is this section here. If you look down here, you see this section which I blew up, which I have this habit of blowing up little parts. That I made the executive decision to include part of the section going down. Part of the column, if you're going to call it a column.
Oh, yes.
Now, so I kept wanting to take it out. But if I took it out, then it was all dark over here.
Yeah.
So what am I going to put over there? So I figured I made the decision to keep it that way, because it kind of, your eye goes up and it goes around. So again, if we were going through the question of where does this picture take your eye? You know, what's the first thing you see? That's a good, what is the first thing you see in this? Is it this guy over here? Is it here? Is the first thing you see up here?
Yeah, I go to that.
The center of the church there, they going down the aisle.
So yeah, so that you really go right there, and then this brings you up, and maybe that brings you back here, and then you move over to here, and then you go back in the circle. So
Leonard, the lower left, is that like if I'm in the church, where do I see that? It looks like a portico kind of area.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting question, because I showed it to someone else, and they were saying, what is that?
Yeah.
And it was actually, when you're inside, there's an, and we have a friend in our building that recently did an event, that they have another little spot that holds 150 people.
Oh, okay.
Like a little event space down, I'm not sure if it's downstairs or next door.
So that's not in the main area of the church.
Yeah, so this is sort of like the entrance to the event space area.
It's on a lower level?
It's on the side. It's still inside on the side.
To look.
And I guess you could say that was one of the more controversial parts of it, because there's so many details could be there. And it's another one where you could say, well, let me redo it and do this and do that, but I thought it was, great, and I'm sure Eleanor would like it, right?
Yeah.
What did you title this one, Lynn?
Well, I called it the Eleanor Roosevelt's Church.
Oh, okay.
And I was wondering when I first saw this, it was kind of bleached here, that's where you're getting into the sunlight, but I
that's
guess
the real.
you liked it.
That's exactly,
The outdoor sun and then the indoor.
Yeah.
That's a good observation on your part. Because it is true. If you ever walk by, I'm sure you've seen the building. Every single hour of the day, it looks like a little different. And it just is that way. So, and it was at the very edge of thinking, wow, this is so bright. And again, your eye has to go there first in a way too.
Yeah.
It goes there, and then back, and then down, and then over, and then back, and down, and over, and that's what it is.
Amazing.
I like the Delano plaque,
That's really well.
what do you call it, signature or signature.
Yeah. Well, that.
Right in front, it's right there, right.
Yeah, that was what was remarkable. That of course people come in there and they ask all the time, where did Eleanor sit and stuff. But just thinking about around the pre-Civil War time, that this was like right after the Civil War, let's say. But there was probably, I mean, you can look it up, and I'm sure that it says. It doesn't tell you when it was actually built, but I'm sure someone knows that it had to be probably something like the 1870s or something.
I don't know if it was
building.
early
It
1900s.
had a fire and
Yeah, it did have a fire,
rebuilt
yeah.
a large part of it.
Ah.
So that might be the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. But the original
Could have
building
been built
was
early,
had to be.
Houses began here in the 1850s, and then that must have been.
In our
Yeah,
neighborhood.
somehow,
Going after that.
right.
Because you see, there was the church, it's really a satellite from another church. And
Ah.
when they came here, so they had to start having a church here, and by the 1870s.
Yeah, well, I thought that I didn't really realize how many people, necessarily lived in Murray Hill in the 19th century, but I'm sure there were plenty. And so the idea of there being a church that held that many people, and I had actually gone to a synagogue on 29th Street, which I can't remember the name of right this second.
Oh, yeah, I know where.
Which was also around
Between
that
Lex and
time, because
Third,
they said that in the basement they had slaves that were protected in the basement of
It was
the.
part of the underground
Yes,
Railroad?
part of the underground railroad.
that synagogue? What's the name of that synagogue? Is that still there?
Yeah. It's very. They
I guess it was
have
called
a
the
minion
Civil
every day.
War
Yeah, it's Orthodox, isn't it?
Yeah. So the thing is that the idea of these places of worship.
Gramercy Park, it's near Gramercy.
Is it? Because he's there.
That these places of worship that were happening in the area
Yeah.
were
We're on the
definitely
railroad.
interesting.
Rutherford Synagogue used to be a Quaker meeting.
But there's two houses, there were two Quaker buildings that, I guess they didn't all get along with each other. There were two of them, and then one of them
But
became.
friends didn't get along.
But I know this was Episcopalian technically. right?
Oh, yeah, Church of
Yeah, this is
Incarnation.
the church that the wealthy people all went to the English church.
But then now there's a Catholic church, is that on
Right,
Park Avenue?
Park and
Yes,
38th.
Park and
Church of
38th,
Savior.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only Catholic church we have in this neighborhood.
Now,
No.
was that technically one of the landmarks also?
No,
No.
it
No,
was
I-
built in
Because
59.
sorry, I didn't
It
choose
was
to.
built after World War II.
Yeah, so that was like a new building. I see they even had a vending machine in the front
It's
of the
one of my
building.
favorite churches, though, it's really beautiful.
No, I
Is that
was,
St. George's?
No, we're
No,
talking
Church of
about
Our Savior.
Church of the Savior.
So
Church of Savior.
so in the church chapter, we'll have a lot of things to talk about.
It was a very expensive church.
The Church of Our Savior, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.